Hey, Humble Nation, welcome back. It's Friday. It's the end of April, and today we're going to be again talking about Humble because we have a couple new things to talk about. I think most of you know that here's my Gmail if you want to send me something. The other day, someone asked what they should do with emailed me with their child who is just leaving their teen years and should they start investing. I gave them a couple of suggestions. That if you had some limited funds, I think, again, these leveraged ETFs, especially for a young person, in my estimation, is a good way to go. And, of course, a lot of you are on Twitter, probably all of you. If you haven't already, subscribe to mine. And you want to be able to know when I post something, there you go. You have that. Either way, I check them throughout the day, off and on, depending upon how busy I am. So anyway, it's good to be back. I was obviously away yesterday. Now, today being Friday, we got 1 week until we go back to an investor call, which will be eagerly awaited, I think. And we see here's the action today on Humbl at 152. Had been higher, had been up to $161 a share. The volume, 8,754,000. So a decent volume, not, it's kind of 50-50. Just, I would say, in between. Not overly high, not shamefully low. And you can kind of see how the market went down to, earlier. And then we had this spike up near the end, and I think, then people started to bail out. Either way, we ended up being at 152, and that's, considering where we've been recently, it's not that bad. I mean, because wasn't that long ago, we were down to 128, as I recall. So among the things that came out today is that we had Brian Foote on Twitter, and he was making some announcements, and that's what maybe all of you have seen this, but just in case you haven't, he put out a tweet here and passed along a press release, which I'll be bringing up momentarily. So number one, thank you, Brian Foote, for having Humbl put out a press release. That's one thing I was requesting, that they should be doing a bit more. But here he had that number one, couple of updates. He says we'll be launching Humbl NFT Gallery in May. We will have some final negotiations. We are trying to get close, or trying to get done. Some potential M&A, that's mergers and acquisitions, if you don't know. So some potential mergers and acquisitions with, and so they're trying to get things done with creative studios, content partners, and agencies to do it right. Number two, he says, NFTs are pretty limitless space based on some of the discussions we're having. We'd like to help define the category. We will help starting with a tight focus on vertical markets, sports, entertainment, music, tickets, etc., through channel partners. And number three, the complexities of the space. Legal, technical, plugins are pretty intense. So our teams are going to experiment with different packaging, different pricing, and partner distribution models for clients. So that's pretty exciting. And something, when he was saying that, just a couple of things, I guess. One, that it brings up to me, I looked at some of the online gaming. In fact, Dual Fans, I think, or FanDuel, came out today and was making a statement about how gaming and gambling, where it used to be something we would think of just years ago in Las Vegas, is now becoming part of the fabric of America. I had never thought before about online gambling, which there are apps, I think GAN is one. But anyway, what if Humbl got into that? Now, I'm not a gambler, but, if there's going to be billions of dollars being gambled around the world in sports gambling, and there is or is going to be, as it builds up, that's a whole nother area of business that I hadn't thought of before that perhaps Humbl could be in. Once you got an app, and it's worth noting that once you have an app and you think about the phone, I've said to people before, a hammer's a hammer, a screwdriver is a screwdriver. We've only had these folks for 10, 12 years, something like that. And this is a tool. And in the old days, this was a phone. But now it's not just a phone, it's a calculator, it does whatever, it's a television, right? It's a voice recorder. And so when you have apps, you can come out and keep developing the business, and it is very dynamic. So to that end, Humbl is adding, and this is the other thing that Brian Foote mentioned. And here's the press release. Again, thanks for putting out a press release, because this is one area where I had been critical of the company that they hadn't been communicating enough. And so today they did, and that's great. And they're pleased to announce new team members, and you can go through them. There's 15, if I counted this right. The number one they list here is a senior advisor, Dennis Lee, who has been a consultant to CEO offices at market movers within the music, sports, technology verticals. And that's important if you read between the lines here of all what's going on. At healthcare, acquired in 2017, Dennis serviced payers and employers providing an AI-based data ingestion platform. At PlayUp, as CEO, Dennis created the first mobile platform dedicated to sport. Now, see, that's where I was thinking that maybe they're working towards sport gaming. Under Dennis's tenure, PlayUp was the first mobile fan engagement platform for the NCAA Division I conferences. And I would say it's safe to say, and let me just skip down here, Dennis has participated in the creation and go-to market of many of the mobile apps we see today from companies such as Disney, Zynga, and others. So, where does that leave us? That leaves us with progress. That leaves us with affirmation that Brian Foote is trying to move, as I said the other day, trying to move the company ahead, full steam ahead, as they used to say in the Navy, that he is trying to build this as fast as he can into a powerhouse company that is global. The other thing, when we go through, without reading all these names here again, let me just bring up the thing you're going to notice, and this is not an accident. So you have Dennis Lee, you have Javier Gonzalez, Adam Wolf, Drew Foster, and you can go on and on. But the point is, he is not just bringing in people with some really nice skill sets, but these are people, in many instances, where they were raised in different countries, I should say. They were also raised in different companies, but they were raised in different countries in many instances. And when you want to be a global company, as Humbl is going to be, you want to have people that have a world perspective. And that's the other thing that I like about these hires. One, you're expanding your capacity, your human capacity. Two, you're bringing in a world perspective. So when you're sitting around the table and brainstorming, and you got one fellow from an Asian region, and someone else who grew up in South America, and someone else is from Europe, they can bring perspectives that are different than if you're just from Chicago and Cleveland and St. Louis, etc. So I think that's all very promising, is what I would say. And I would say that we're going to be looking forward to the release of the investor call. I'm sure that Brian Foote will be going into a lot more detail about this on Friday. He'll also, I believe, based upon what he had brought up before, be going into also the conversation about the share structure, which you see at the top where it says business on the upper right column. It says patent filings, share structure, and M&A. M&A. So M&A brought us Tickery. We don't know what else he's working on. Maybe by next Friday he'll be ready to announce again that, hey, he is bringing into the fold a new company. But what I would say is I'm starting to feel from all of the angst that we have had over the last 2 weeks, we've got the price starting to stabilize. We've got advancements moving. We've got new hires, and they have an expertise in mobile apps. So for all of those of you out there who said, you know, the app came out, that's all well and good, but it's not much of an app. Brian Foote never said this was going to be the final product. He did say he wanted to get the app out in April. He got it out in April. And as I have said the other day, and I have said actually for years, and it's just common sense, folks, you can't make something better until you make it, right? So you got to do it before you can do it better. They've done it. They got an app out. Now they're going to do it better. Now they're bringing in people. I have said many times, you got to give this company some time because they're 5 months old. It's not an excuse. It's a reality. So let's see where we are. I said, let's check the price in June. We're coming up. You know, we're going to be about roughly a month away. Let's see where we are in June as compared to where we were in January. In January, we were starting off, as I recall, in the neighborhood of 10 to 20 cents. We obviously shot up in February on what I would say was premature enthusiasm. Enthusiasm's good. When it comes too soon, then you get a spike up that's not sustainable. So let's see where we are in June. Let's see where we are in December. And, we're going to get some earnings coming out when we see the reports in July, when we see the reports then in October for the third quarter. So, this is a ride, and we're seeing along the way some continued progress. When you look at what has happened in April, as we close out April, it's been good. I think we all have reason to be optimistic. So, sorry I was missing you yesterday. Again, if you want to leave me a note on Twitter or follow me on Twitter, and if you want to email me, you can do that. In the meantime, excuse me, I hope that you all have a beautiful weekend. It's about 70 degrees and sunny here in central Illinois. Hope the rain holds off. I'm going to go out and try to have a great day this afternoon. I hope you do as well. Thanks as always, folks. Leave me your comments if you wish. I love reading them. And in the meantime, we may do something if we get a chance here over the weekend. Otherwise, we'll see you on Monday. Goodbye, everyone. Have a great weekend.